and she came from far. Now she...
Okay, so here we are doing the chart of Sinead O'Connor. So you can see that she has, oh god, I'm trying to focus here. Yeah, here we are. She's got the moon is in Libra. Is that right? Moon in Libra? Yeah, it is. She's got Mars in Libra. She's got Mercury conjunct Neptune in Scorpio. She's got, yes, on the ascendant, this is if she is born at 7:37 a.m. On the ascendant, she's got Sun conjunct Venus, no surprise there, in Sagittarius. She's got the South Node conjunct Neptune and Mercury. There's looks like a bit of a yoddy situation there as well. And she's got Saturn and Chiron and Black Lilith in just about in Neptune, if that's the right time of birth. She has a lot of oppositions, but she also has quite a lot of trines and is that a quincunx there? So, I mean, there's no surprise there. Nice view. Let me focus for a second. No surprise there that her conjunct her Venus in Sagittarius. So she expresses herself. Her feminine side is very similar to her real basic character. Sagittarius is the sign of fighting for ideals. That's the way I would call it. It's the struggle of trying to make the material world become similar to the ideal world and the spiritual world. However, as we also see in the way that she speaks and has represented herself, is that she believes that she is a communicator for humanity in general, human emotions, and that is very true in the sense that she has been seen as that because her Mercury and her Neptune are conjunct in Scorpio, which is deep inner conflicts, things that are hidden from society. So she's bringing these out to be seen by society through her communication. We must remember that Neptune is also to do not just with you know, the feelings of society, but Neptune is not regulated by intellect, whilst Mercury is. So one could debate which is the strongest and which is going to take over. Are they working together in harmony? And again, if we're talking about working together in harmony, we have to look at the lower octaves of Neptune, which could be turning to alcoholism and drugs as well. So when she's communicating, she may be communicating the feelings of alienation, which are brought up by Neptune, and then falling into trying to escape into an ideal world, because the world of imagination, the world of the ideal world of Sagittarius, which she would like, she realizes doesn't exist. So, oh, thank you very much. Any sugar in that?
There's no sugar in it. I can bring some over.
Yeah, yeah, cheers, yeah, thanks. So I'm just reading Sinead O'Connor's chart. So, yeah, the problem is, I mean, the problem, all women have a problem as they get older, which is why I'm not showing my face on this film. It's nice to see that Sinead is showing her face, and that it's beauty may be only skin deep, but the essence of what her character is like, she is continuing to demonstrate this, or trying to, as much as she can. She got a good kickstart in life as the career. Thanks. And so if you start from so high, you know, these ideals which she thought she was getting the break and being positive to do, and then you realize the real world is totally different. There's the disillusion of Neptune. It can't be easy to face. It would be nice to see if maybe with the intellect of Mercury on its own could these things be coped with, you know, separation from family, loss of looks. in that sense, if Mercury was dominant, she could say, well, you know, I'm feeling depressed because I had too much to drink. I'm feeling depressed because I'm in this situation. But if I do A, B, and C, I'll be able to resolve this. But her opinions may be obfuscated, shaded by the fact that the Neptune dream factor mentality is not following the scientific method or the strict structure of chain of pattern of thought. So she's got Chiron, whatever you call it, healing, and Saturn next to each other. Again, Saturn is the planet of restriction. I actually see Saturn. Sorry, I'm just going to stop for a second to have my coffee. Yeah, so we can think of astrology in the same way as we think of the Bible or any type of ideology that's been made into human form, which is a limited material form which has to be understood. The concept has to be absorbed into the limited factor of mortality. Is that the Bible could have been a book to make things easy to understand, in the same way astrology could be seen as a way to make us understand the energy fields. I personally see Jupiter as the planet of expansion, the planet of the ideal and the conceptual, which is the spiritual, which is not possible to ever actually materialize in the society and material beings, and the bodies never, you know, they're constantly evolving, changing, degenerating. And the same thing for Saturn. Saturn is showing that restriction, so there's going to be constantly this pull between Jupiter and Saturn. If there wasn't this pull, if there wasn't the search for this balance between the two, there wouldn't be a pull. So you can't say to anybody who's Jupiterian that they're not affected by Saturn, because that's why they're Jupiterian in the first place. They're trying to pull away from the material, and the same thing for Saturn is they're trying to pull away from the ideology and make it concrete. However, in real life, as I said, it's very difficult or nearly impossible to ever actually materialize. That's why in some way Neptunian dreams are nice, because they give the image that they've managed to materialize something. Like, you know, we have a song that's saying something passionate. Do we actually ever see it? Does it actually does it change anything in real life? Did the Pope stop being the Pope? Did the Third World stop having famines after Bob Geldof did his concert? No, but it showed that the ideal, and it made it look like there was some solution, and that's what the Neptunian effect can have. So with Sinead's chart, she had this Neptune conjunct Mercury. She's communicating this dream, this ideal, and she would have been thinking it as well. But however, we have the Saturn and the so that's 1, 2, 3. So that is a trine. She's got a trine. Yeah, she's got a trine. She's got a trine between her Neptune, Mercury, and her Saturn, which is actually good. But she's got a square between her Venus and Sun and her Saturn. So yeah, her personal identity, as we know, as we know from YouTube, she's had a hysterectomy, which she says really affected her. Her personal identity as a woman would be very much affected by the restrictions of Saturn, Black Moon Lilith, and Chiron. Chiron is learning how to self-heal, and she talks about that a lot. Black Moon Lilith is the hidden parts of your character which you don't want to reveal. And you know, personally, I would have thought that all that anger towards her mother may have caused that problem with her uterus, because she was blocking the energies, thinking about it too much probably. So she got that Mars in Virgo. Well, it's actually in Libra. So yeah, that's a very fiery combination. Mars and Libra are opposites, so there'd be a big conflict, her drive. Oh God, everything's going flying around there. She's got Pluto in Virgo. Well, they're quite close. So Mars and Pluto together is quite, well, they're not very close to each other, but Pluto's in Virgo. Well, that's for her generation. This is all based on if she was born at 7:37. You know, the positions of the planets might be different, but if the positions of the planets in the sky, regardless of the aspects, are in that position, she's got the Pluto and Mars are on the top of her chart, and Jupiter is on the top of her chart, so people can see that, and they can see her moon. They can see her moon in her career, the 11th house. What's hidden would have been in the 12th house, the Scorpio planets. They're hidden from her consciousness. She wouldn't realize she wouldn't realize how to express what's happening within herself as easily as if they were in another place. And she got the North Node in Taurus, so basically she has to learn how to ground herself, become more in touch with her material side, probably. Where she's coming from is that Scorpio side. Scorpio is often described as the, you know, with the karmic past. So maybe, you know, when she says that she was abused sexually, this taboo thing about the church, it may have gone down generations in her family, and that she's the person who's putting the lid on it, or opening the lid on it, one should say, really, opening the Pandora box. And it would be important for her to find a way to deal with this in a constructive manner, because then it could get rid of the demons for the rest of her family in the future. You never know, maybe her children have a chart where they'll learn from what's happening to her, and it won't happen again. I mean, not necessarily with the church, because I think that's not going to happen very often now, hopefully. We don't have anyone in the church anymore anyway. So going back to the chart, I'm trying to think of something else to say. The trines, Neptune and Saturn in trine, there's restriction on the dreams, but also a good working relationship. So it's a controlled working of the dreams. Like she's managed to, she puts effort into it, she got somewhere, and she did put effort into it. She put a lot of effort, especially when she was younger. Hang on, I'll just finish the call. I'll just look at the nice view for a second. For a second is more like 10 seconds there. So I think it's the first day of summer.
My mother, she told me, don't care about nobody, don't believe those empty lies, don't dream about a lover who thinks of another, you'll be taken by surprise. But I said, if you had not been with my dad, you would have not had me, 'cause I'm the gift of love you had, 'cause I'm your baby. You've got to say what you say when you wanna say what you know is true, 'cause anything you say that's wrong will rise back up to haunt you. You've got to do what you do when you wanna do, and you do it more. 'Cause if you sit back on your ass, it'll stick right to the floor. You got the wrong end of the stick. 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 You got the wrong end on. My father, he told me, be true to who you are. Don't give up those dreams and shine just like a star. And if someone stops you, you tell them where to go. You've gotta tell them, you've got to let them know. You've got to say what you say when you wanna say what you know is true. 'Cause anything you say that's wrong will rise back up to haunt you. You've got to do what you do when you wanna do, and you do it more. 'Cause if you sit back on your ass, it'll stick right to the floor. You got the wrong end of the stick. You got the wrong end of the stick. You got the wrong end of the stick. You got the wrong end of. You got the wrong end of the stick. You got the wrong end of the stick. You got the wrong end of the stick. You got the wrong end of.
Yeah, so going back to the chart. Focus. Hello, wakey wakey. Again, talking about Sinead O'Connor, another song I'm going to write about her is, Dolores O'Riordan, is going to be Last Dream Before You Go to Sleep. I mean, I'm not going to start comparing Sinead O'Connor and Dolores O'Riordan here, but I do think that they had a lot of planets to do with idealism and the fall from this state of believing in idealism. I just, I don't want to give any messages here. All I'm trying to say is that it's nobody's fault it's nobody's direct fault the way society is. And if Sinead can concentrate more on herself and try to be happier within herself, then she has her family that will take her back. That's what I think. She can. I'm sure there's more creative things she can do than live in Jersey or wherever it is that she's living, and I'm sure she is doing a lot of them. It's extremely difficult when you get older to do anything in the music business. The music business is a cutthroat business, as she said herself. In fact, it'd be better if she wasn't in the music business, but because she has this deep need to communicate dreams, she would have to find something else that represents the dreams. And I mean, singing is one of these natural things. I mean, she's very good at singing. I'm really sad that she's smoking and that her voice isn't, she's not using that great voice. I mean, if you watch videos of her, she knew exactly how to make her voice sound good, the way she was moving and everything. So yeah, we've got Gemini on the descendant. Maybe one of her husbands, or her husband, I don't know, I think she had two, I don't know, was a Gemini or is a Gemini. She's got, there's no planets in Aries. Let me see, her fifth house has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Her fifth house has got the North Node in Taurus. So I don't know if that represents any of her children might have been Taurus. Mars, is that Mars there? No, that's not Mars. Yeah, it is Mars. But there's yeah, so she's got quite a few oppositions between Pluto, Chiron, Saturn, all indicating taboos, health problems. But the main thing that stands out here is her Neptune and Mercury conjunction in Scorpio, which is really, really spot on for her character, and her ascendant in Sagittarius with her Sun and Venus in her first house. Again, spot on for her character, and it's no wonder that she became and she's done what she has. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you like my music. Ready?
Look into my eyes, you can see, taken by surprise in the morning sun. Staring at my face, you can see the tears falling.
Just a couple of things to mention about Sinead's chart. is that, first of all, sorry, I should have noticed that the first time I was looking at it, is that on the 5th house, she's got 2, 3, 4, 5, it's in Taurus. The North Node in Taurus, so it's to do with the singing, the voice. Here's my ignorance in astrology. Is that Leo or the North Node? That is the North Node. Where's her Leo then? Oh, it's up there in the ascendant. Jupiter in Leo, perfect. So Jupiter, fortune in Leo, self-expression. The 5th house is self-expression, so she's singing, music, Venus, Venusian things. So that would also help, obviously, a lot. The other thing I wanted to just point out is that when you have planets conjunct, yes, it can bring you a lot of luck, because every time a planet passes over it in a good aspect, in real life it'll trigger the sextiles, the trines. But if something bad, like an opposition, passes through, let's just say she's got her Sun, Venus in Sagittarius, you would presume that probably she doesn't have a very good time around June every year, which is the opposite sign, which is Gemini. Or she might have, opposing feelings about things. Also, if the moon is in Gemini, or for example the moon is in a square aspect, here she's got these squares, but she's got a lot of trines. So she's got a group of squares, a group of trines, and a group of oppositions. So if you have a lot of squares, there's probably a better chance you're going to have other aspects in your chart as well, isn't it? Because you're going to have a square is 60 or 90 degrees, and an opposition is 180. So if you've got a lot of 90 planets at 90 degrees, they're probably going to be in opposition to something else. But what I'm trying to say is, the more times you have something that triggers good luck and easy transferal of energy, then there's also a chance that that good luck can also turn into big. Jupiter is big. It's not necessarily good luck. It's big events, big episodes, big tensions. So even though she might have had a kickstart in life with these trines that she has, she has a lot of triggers that every time the trine is triggered, when let's just say a planet goes over her. Let's just say a planet goes over her, it goes around Neptune, Pisces, it goes over her Saturn, right? So it's conjunct her Saturn, that's good, that means hard work. That would trigger a trine to her Sun and Venus, which would make her more popular. But it would also trigger an opposition to her Pluto, where she's been controlled. Pluto with Mars together, controlled by men, by male forces, or rather than controlled, they're seeing her as as something, they're pointing their finger at her, and vice versa. Also her male side is pointing her finger at the authorities. We can look at all the different words, if you want to look on the internet, what words are used to represent different planets. And so every time something passes over her, let's say 0 degrees Aries, the end of Pisces, she's also going to have this opposition with Mars. She's going to have the trine with Mercury. So she'd be able to talk about her sorrows, talk about her pains, talk about her healing processes in a dreamy state, where she's trying to see the social value, the escapism mechanisms, all the Neptunian stuff in Scorpio, so going down to the bottom of the matter. I'm just improvising here, ad-libbing. I'm not really, haven't really studied the chart, and I'm not really intending to become a professional astrologer. It's just a little bit of fun for me, because I'm interested in this 1971 generation. When Dolores O'Riordan died, I had been comparing Dolores O'Riordan and Sinead O'Connor, and it's a strange kind of little combination of Irish singers there that have a lot in common, and we wouldn't want Sinead to fall down the same rabbit hole rabbit hole is the right term here for any Neptunian escapism, that if Dolores O'Riordan did intentionally decide to was trying to do something to harm herself, we don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if that would be the case, but if it was the case, then we wouldn't want anything to happen to Sinead, and we'd like to see that Sagittarius optimism bringing her, pushing her on, which it is already doing now. So yeah, I just wanted to point out is that you can see it, and we don't need to have any interest in astrology to see that we have these big lines which are all converging. We could look at this triangle and think that triangle itself is showing a picture of her destiny, of the way that she's been manipulated by the energy fields.
Do